Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/Am I the Butthole? Gotta love a little bit of Am I the Butthole, haven't we? If that sounds like something you'd like to join in with me on today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thanks. Okay, first post. Am I the butthole for adopting a dog after I thought my boyfriend broke up with me? My boyfriend was going through a tough time and he said he needed a break. He said he was going to press pause on our relationship and go visit his family in Washington. I asked how you pause a relationship because I don't understand how that works. He said he needed some time to work on himself and asked me to respect that. Straight away, I'm getting a red flag here. After he left, I reached out to him a few times via text asking him to let me know if he arrived safely and to say hi to his mum for me. I received no response. I tried to call and left a message asking if he had broken up with me. I came to the conclusion that he'd ghosted me and my friends agreed. I was bummed, and my best friend recommended I find something like a new hobby or a new show to watch that wouldn't make me think of my boyfriend. I decided to get a dog. Perfect, why not? Pets are way better than relationships. My boyfriend is horribly allergic to pet dander. Is that not your ex-boyfriend, my dear? So I never even considered getting a pet. However, since he broke up with me, I decided to get one. He's a senior dog from the shelter that needed rescuing. He's low energy and likes to lay with his head in my lap while I read, work or watch TV. That's really cute. If a bloke said to me I want to take a break while I go on my hollybobs, I'd be like, yeah, you're cheating. You've got someone you want to see while you're over there and you want to do it guilt-free. Yeah, no thank you. After 6 weeks away, my boyfriend texted me that he was back and coming over tomorrow. Cheeky little turd. Which was yesterday, so we could talk. I was shocked and texted him back asking what he was talking about. He said he was back and ready to unpause our relationship. He said he would talk to me about everything the next day. I texted back asking what relationship. He didn't answer. Yesterday he showed up, told me he had done a lot of self-examination and was ready to move forward on his life path. Note there the phrasing of his life path. He's taking no consideration for OP whatsoever. He even wanted to talk about moving in together. Then he saw my dog and started freaking out. He asked me how I could get a dog when I know how sick he gets. I told him that since he broke up with me, I didn't think it mattered. He said he didn't break up with me. I said he ghosted me. He said he communicated with me, telling me he was pressing pause and visiting family. I said not answering texts is ghosting. We argued in circles, and then he said he had to leave because he was getting an allergic reaction, even though he was standing in the doorway, not inside. I feel like he broke up with me and it was okay that I got a dog. He says that he never did and therefore it's a horrible act of disregard to have gotten a dog. Which of us is right, you ROP? My best friend said that I should break up with him because he's a jerk. Oh yes, I like this best friend. I don't think I should have to break up with someone that already broke up with me. If I break up with him, I'm basically agreeing with him that he didn't break up with me, and therefore I was a butthole for getting the dog, right? Yeah, no, do you know what? I would stand 10 toes down on that one. I'd be like, no, you already broke up with me. There's no relationship, my love. There's nothing to discuss. See you later. Because let's be quite honest, he definitely did this for more reasons than just needing a break. Because, I don't believe in breaks in relationships anyway. I'm not going to lie. I think either you're together or you're not. If you get to the point you have to have a flipping break, you probably shouldn't be together. Or you should be going and getting couples counselling if you're really determined, you know? I think a break does nothing but cause more divide and rift because you're always going to be paranoid about what they've gone and done on that break. But this wasn't even like a real break. Normally on a break, people still communicate, but they take a break from actually doing relationship-y things, seeing each other every day, but they still communicate. This guy just went complete ghost for weeks. 6 freaking weeks. No, in the bin with him. So then down in the comments, Soulless Ginger 992. I'm only laughing at that because my best mate is Ginger and we always joke that she steals souls. She's the one who makes the jokes first, okay? I'm not being mean. She also takes the mick out of me for being very pasty and ghosty. We have one of those relationships where our love language is taking the mick out of each other and it's fine. So They say, not the butthole, it's only a pause if both parties agree. A one-sided pause when the other is against it is in fact just a breakup, precisely. And then First Pay 702 says, from what I've seen of breaks, there are rules discussed about what is and is not okay during the course of a pause, for that play button to still work. He wouldn't even answer a text clarifying whether he'd broke up with her or not. If he'd really wanted to take time to think and to protect the relationship at the same time, he would have answered that text. The dog is the best FU, we're done response. She gets a lovely pupper and he has reason to stay gone. Yeah, I do like that there is something there physically putting a distance between them now, because he sounds just shite. And then Infinite Airs says, the dog will help keep him away given his severe allergies, which is great for OP, because she doesn't need that loser around anyway. And then Better Than Ner 2 says, I once had a guy interested in me that was trying to cheat on his longtime girlfriend, unbeknownst to me. My dog bit him. Great judge of character. Good doggy. Next post, am I the butthole for poking fun at my cousin's divorce after she insulted my wedding? I, 29F, got married at 20. My husband and I were young, desperately in love, and super broke. I was never one to want a big wedding, so we kept it small. I will admit, my cousin 36F helped a ton with the decorations. I'm not one to be super into that stuff. I was fine with it just looking a little plain, but she wanted to make the day special for me, and I appreciated it. I sang her praises the entire day, paid her for helping me after the fact, and literally made a speech the day of the wedding of how grateful I was for her. I should also note that she got married a few months before me in an extremely lavish, extremely expensive wedding. Her wedding day was actually perfect, and everyone still talks about it. However, she got divorced 4 years ago. I love that little dig there. I'm unsure what has caused this, but now anytime we are together, she makes fun of my wedding. She mocks how small it was, she mocks how corny the venue was, she insults my bridesmaids and my husband's family and how useless they were the day of. I normally don't react because honestly, I don't care about her opinion. Interjecting here to just say she is projecting because she is feeling insecure about the fact that your wedding was not this all lavish, all singing, all dancing thing, and yet your marriage has lasted and hers has not. Just gonna put that out there. However, today we were at a large Father's Day gathering with all my family. From the second she saw me, she started ragging on my wedding to her new boyfriend. I'm not sure, but something in my brain just flipped and I said back to her, well, at least I'm still married. Everyone in my family is upset with me. They said I went below the belt with that comment, but honestly, no one has ever checked her for insulting me over and over and over. Am I the butthole? No, of course you're not. You've literally just hit the nail on the head, really. And is it a bit mean? Probably. Do I care? No. If you can dish it out, you can take it. That's my motto. I am not one for being the bigger person if someone's being an asshat. I will be the bigger asshole. Unless, of course, I think that you're wanting me to react, and then I will not give it you. Just out of principle, I'll be like, no, I'm not going to react at all now just because I know you want it. So then down in the comments, Shahawk says, not the butthole, you can only be pushed so far until you react. She's clearly jealous of the success of your marriage and has resorted to insulting your wedding to cope with her feelings. Pathetic. Stick to your guns. Yeah, exactly. So then Alert Cranberry 5972 says, every time she brings it up again, reply the same, or, seriously cuz, it's been 9 years of you negging on our wedding, grow up and move on to trying to bully someone else. Maybe if she worked as hard on the marriage rather than her perfect day, she'd still be married, not the butthole. Next up, and I feel like this one is going to cause a big divide in opinions, I really do, but let's hear out the OP first. I'm only going by the title because I've not read this yet. Am I the butthole for tipping 83 cents? We don't have tipping here in the UK. You tip if you just want to feel super generous, but really, no one does. The only time anyone does is say if you've had the most excellent service ever and the person was amazing and you're like, oh, I really feel they deserve a treat. But tipping is not something we do here. So I just want to preface that by saying my opinion is coming from someone who doesn't have to do it, okay? I went out to dinner with my wife last night. When the bill came, I gave the waitress my card. She came back shortly after looking upset. She slapped the card down on the table and said, declined. I thought her tone and brevity was rude. I took out a different card from my wallet and handed it to her. While I was putting the first card in my wallet, she didn't move. I looked at her and said, "Are you okay?" She said, "If I go back and try and run this, are you still going to be sitting here when I get back?" Wow. I asked her if she thought her tone was appropriate for speaking to customers, and she said, "You're only a customer if you pay." I asked to speak to her manager. Yeah, that's quite a shitey attitude, isn't it, really? Like, this happens to me all the time because I've got 2 different bank cards and I actually don't keep my money on either of them. What I do is I transfer from my savings account to my card like just before I pay, because obviously now it's so easy for someone to, if you lose your card, for them to just pick it up and tap it. They don't have to put in a PIN anymore. So I don't leave my money in there until I actually need it. So there's been times where I've accidentally transferred it to the wrong card and then had to transfer it back and transfer it to the other one because they'll be like, "Oh, it's not gone through." And I'll be thinking, why? I've just put the money in there. And then I'm like, "Oh, crap, I've not put it on the right card." So then I have to transfer it to the other card. It can be so innocent. Like, it might just be that, "Oh, didn't realise I hadn't got that much in that card, in that bank account. Oh, the money's on this one actually instead." So having a shitey attitude is really not on, is it? She left with the card. My wife said maybe the waitress had encountered scammers before and was anxious about it. I said being rude and being cautious are 2 different things. The waitress returned with my card and the slip to fill out. She said, "This one worked. I'm sorry." I thanked her and took the booklet. Our bill was $91.17. I wrote in 83 cents as the tip and 92 was the total. I handed it back to her and started to get up to leave. She said, "You're really not going to tip me?" I said, "No, you were rude to me." And I mean, they're better than me because I would have tipped you fucking 0 for having that kind of attitude with me. Like, what the hell? She said, "I have to tip out the bartender and the busboy. I just paid money to serve you." I said, "Well, in the future, you shouldn't be so rude." My wife thinks I was an a-hole to the waitress and should have given her a $10 at least, because it was an honest misunderstanding. I would have given her $28.83 if she wasn't rude to me, but I don't want to pay to be insulted. Was I the butthole? I think the waitress was an arsehole, and if somebody who is serving me and then expecting a tip out of me spoke to me like crap because my one card didn't work, I would be fuming, because I'm not being funny. That happens a lot. Like, the bank could be being finicky, the card machine could have been being finicky, you know. Like I said, sometimes it can be just a matter of, "Oh, I actually have the wrong card. Sorry, let me give you the right card that does have the money on." It happens. And yeah, I know that people dine and dash. I know they do. But it's one of those things of, well, maybe do it a bit more like we do in the UK, where in a lot of places, restaurants, you have to pay for your food as of when you order it. You know, if you're that worried about it, if companies are that worried, I think tipping culture in the US, from what I've heard and the information I've heard about it, is preposterous, honestly. Employers should be paying their employees a livable wage and not expecting them to have to grovel for tips. I think that's disgusting. But obviously that's not the way it works. So the least you can do is just not be rude to people. Like, I do get that some people just give like a crap tip just to be assholes, and I get that, and that's not good. But if you're being blatantly rude to someone without even giving them a chance over what is clearly just an honest mistake, no, that's not acceptable in my eyes anyway. I'd love to hear what you guys think on that one, because obviously, like I say, I'm not from somewhere where tips are necessary. And then the OP goes on to say, "For the record, I called my bank and the card was flagged for fraud because of a pending $1 charge that is often associated with fraud attempts. I resolved it." So, down in the comments, "A party in my pants." Okay. "I used to work at a retail store where people would try to scam us with checks by signing their name really hard and thick, crossing over the account number on the bottom. This would often cause the register to scan the check improperly. Or likewise, I worked at a restaurant where the occasional credit card would get declined. I would always simply say, 'I'm sorry, it seems our system is having an issue with the check or the magnetic strip on the back. Do you have an alternative form of payment?' Don't blame the customer, blame the technology. The scammers would throw a fit. The legit customers would say, 'Oops, Exactly. And then a Brit in the Bay says 90% of the time it is the tech too, to be honest. Right then, last post for the day. Am I the butthole for not skipping a work trip because my husband is recovering from a hair transplant? My husband flew overseas for a hair transplant. We have 2 children under 7. I work full-time in a stressful corporate role. He never plans or researches in advance. I am supposed to go on a work trip for 2 days to a 2-day work planning retreat. It is important exposure. He will be post-op for 3 days by the time I leave. Last night he texted that he needed me to cancel my trip because he is recovering from surgery. Put him first, and I'm going to be beyond mad if you do this to me and do not put me first the one time I am asking. Well, then don't just go on a whim and have a hair transplant, you douchebag. And if I go, he won't take the kids to school. Let him explain then to the school why he's not showing up with the kids. You do that in the UK, you get fined. His head may be sore and bald, but should not impede a pickup and a drop-off. My trip has been planned for about 6 months. His main gripe is that he will be seen so close to surgery. He did not choose this date, and up until yesterday, this was the plan. He told me my trip is stupid. I put everyone first, but I don't think I need to stay home and miss something so important for this, and I also think it is selfish to be saying this to me. I am always impacted by his last-minute changes and impulses. I am supportive of doing something that makes him feel better about himself, but why should I miss this last minute? Am I being selfish, or is he being selfish? I think it's more than that, my dear. I think he's trying to sabotage you, to be honest with you, because he could have done this at any time. He could have gone any time, but he decides where to go when he knows that you have a work trip. It was planned 6 months in advance. Sounds, from what you've said, like he went completely on a whim to do this, which tells me he's purposefully trying to sabotage you. And he thinks that having a fucking hair transplant is a good enough excuse for you to have to stay home and look after his poor little ass. No! If you can get on a flight and back, you are fine to sit in your house and watch your kids. Even more so, all he has to do is take them to school. He can then sit on his backside all day while they're at school and not do anything. You know? Like, oh, this guy would infuriate me. And that's not me saying, by the way, I think he had a hair transplant just to sabotage her. I think he timed it for that particular date to sabotage her. Obviously, he was going to go and have a hair transplant anyway, and that's fine. But yeah, the timing, I'm sorry. No, he's being an idiot. Update, I am leaving for my work trip. I guess I left out some important details. I'm so glad you're still going on this work trip. We live in, I'm guessing that's New York, where everyone walks to school. We both work. I make more money, but he makes plenty, and aside from his temper tantrum, always takes care of our kids when I travel for work. About 6 to 8 times a year. He has been obsessed with his hair thinning for about 13 years I have known him. He is not having an affair. So down in the comments, Objective Bus 6897 says, if he could fly home overseas, he's fine. Exactly. And then Agnes Perditanit, I think, exactly this. As he could navigate airports and planes post-surgery, he sure can handle to take care of his children, not the butthole. Yeah, precisely. He would have had to have been cleared by doctors to fly. So if he's well enough to be able to do that, he is well enough to be at home with his kids. Like, women will have full-on C-sections where the 7 layers of their abdomen are cut open and still have to look after kids and toddlers for, you know, the 6 weeks they should be recovering, as well as a newborn baby. I'm sure he can manage a hair transplant and a couple of kids that are going to be going to school for most of the time that he's there with them. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, I would appreciate you even more, and that's your initiation into the cult of void. Congratulations, well done you. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.